Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Come get some.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Are you the key master?
Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk.
Can't see that.
As if.
Hello, how's it going, guys? I'm trying to get Phil on here. Get your ass in here, Phil. So this is me doing artwork, so it's going to be amazing. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this fucking shit. Hey, George Lucas. I didn't like the last few films, but that's okay. We still think you're great. Oh, let me add this fucker to the stream. Okay, so I'm going to go start drawing this. So, yeah. Just I'm trying to think of a Demon Bitch cartoon. I have a couple mean ones in my head. Let's see here. So how's it going with everybody? So let me go ahead. So I like drawing with red. That's the thing. So I've done a couple of Demon Bitch ones, like right here. That's a good one because I get tired of people doing stupid shit like that. And then I'll probably draw something. I'll maybe draw something like that's a bit of a warm up and everything. You know how that is. Let's see here. How's everybody right now? I'm going to wait until more people aggregate before I start talking. Oh, somebody's doing bodily functions first before they join us. If you notice, I'm not shy about that shit. Anyway, so how's everybody's day? I'm kind of tired, man. I went and saw a movie premiere with a friend of mine last night. We saw one called The School of Good and Evil, and it was actually pretty good. I was not thinking it was shitty. It was more for 12, 13-year-olds, but it wasn't cheesy. It was actually pretty cool. And how they were talking about how good was made insipid and shallow, and I said, I have to admit that. So anyway, yeah, Pops is laughing in the background because like I'm saying all sorts of shit because I'm a totally based fucker today.
I was actually laughing because Phil just told me why he isn't here.
Yeah, so did he. It involves praying to the porcelain god, a god that we can all agree with. In some form or another, we must make the deposits to him. But anyway, yeah. Oh, I'm just tired, man. I don't know what it is.
All right, I'll hang out with you until he gets here.
Yeah, because I'm like drawing, and it's like weird because it's like I'm trying to like go and it takes a moment for people to propagate too as well. Oh, here, guess who's here? This is my bitch. Here you go. This is my little bitch. By the way, she likes butt pats.
What's up?
But yeah, she did this cute thing by hiding out when she didn't want her teeth being brushed.
Yeah, well, yeah, no. That's just how that shit goes. Yeah, if I was an animal, I wouldn't want somebody messing around my mouth either.
Notice how mad she is when I'm like going, do you want to go and do something else? She's like, no. She just gets up on here and just lies in front of my keyboard. That's why.
So where's all our people at?
Where's all peeps, guys?
I guess I got to share this out.
Oh yeah, that would be good. But isn't it already out? Dang.
No, I mean like there, jibber jabber. We don't have a
We don't have that.
direct link to them yet, so we gotta click it. And there's some other groups on Facebook that I'm not directly broadcasting to that appreciate what we do that I can drop this in that I haven't yet. We do have some people that love us. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I've actually gotten this thing called Global Comics out, and that's actually where I'm putting a majority of my stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get that going. Hold on. Let me see here. I've got 10 million tabs out, so this is kind of funny. Why I don't click on one. Let's see here. Okay, so basically you could preview and purchase, because I do have the Square Up store, but this is actually where you can support me also directly as well. It's
Right.
globalcomics.com, and share that with you guys. I also share it to Reddit every so often. And actually, it's been good at aggregating me sales, which is nice. Now, this is mostly digital. I'm exporting or importing in all the Demon Bitch web comics that I possibly can right now. But while I'm doing that, I actually do have it's actually pretty cool because not only do they aggregate it, but it's a good platform to read it on. So it's not this overly complex thing like Comixology had. So you guys might want to check it out. And then on 10/22, I'll be at Adults Only. It's a bar, and it will be Wicked City. Unfortunately, you can't. It's weird. The pre-sale tickets, it doesn't show up well on Firefox or Safari. I found out it turns out to be a blank page. But if you're doing other stuff, just go into my link tree. There's Malicious CityCon at Adults Only Bar. It's not a strip club, guys. So just go and check that out if you're in the LA area. Pre-sale tickets. You just have to select my name, Christie Shinn, because I get credit for like how many sales I bring in. So
she says straight up, it ain't a strip club, guys. Put your tongues back in your mouths. Put them back. Put them back. Put them
right.
back.
It's not. Con.
Do you like that guy, Christy?
Yeah, that's a cool one. Yeah, he's easy as fuck.
Frank Forte drew that one for me.
Oh, Frank Forte? That's cool. I didn't know you knew him.
Oh yeah, me and Frank go way back. I definitely promote everything they do over there at Asylum Press, yo. If you don't know Asylum Press, go check them out because they're real.
Yeah, he and his wife live near me. They're really cool people.
Yeah, they really are. He used to I think he was editor at Heavy Metal or something for a while, and he's got a few books. Vampire Verses and Warlash. He's got some good stuff. Really does. So if you're not familiar with Frank, go check him out. Oh, by the way, he also does like Bob's Burgers and stuff like that too. Rick and Morty, and he's just badass. What's up, Jay Reed Art? How you doing?
Hey,
brother?
Jay Reed, what's up? Jay's also another longtime supporter. So I was like, where is he? He almost never misses a show.
Yep, y'all got to remember, Christie's back on a weekly basis right here. Wednesdays. Every Wednesday. Kicking it. Doing the lunch hour thing. It's good to see you, Jay.
Ooh, greetings. Ugh. Sorry, guys. Also, I was out till 2 a.m. So, no, I was not partying. I was sitting with one of my friends at Denny's. She invited me to the premiere, so I went, and it was pretty cool. As I said, the movie was pretty good. I think it might be actually replacing Harry Potter, or it's the next generation's Harry Potter. So I think it's kind of cool. Let's see. I'm trying to think what I can do with this demon bitch because I like her in this position. Ha 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 ha.
Is that she fell off a building and
She
landed
fell
on her
off a
face?
platform. And I'm going to say so much
Oh.
for clout.
She busted her ass? Her ass?
Not that one. That's the other one.
Come on, you got to draw Demon Bitch busting her ass in the foam pit. You got to.
Actually, I'm going to make her look all painful. And then the chunks of foam right there.
My ass.
Yours,
Christy,
suppose.
how many times have I helped inspire parts of your drawings?
Right? Well, remember you saw Man Baby and you almost died?
Oh, geez, I almost fell out my chair that day.
Yeah, I just drew that. I think I have it in one of my books, actually.
I just fell out my chair, man. It was like, holy crap, Christy. And that was the day that I learned that Christie's pen is far mightier than your sword, boys.
Oh, yeah. I've had a lot of hilarity into that type of shit.
She don't play around
No.
when it comes to, her art. She can be very direct.
Yeah, some people get mad when I do that too. It's like, I'm not putting your name on it. Fuck off.
I say things like, well, if the shoe fits, lace that bad boy up.
Right? So what I do is this is how I draw my cartoons very badly initially. And then I just I kind of have an idea and then I just go straight to inking it.
Deconstructed Demon Bitch.
It's like, you ruined everything, you
Oh, you don't start again, I'll leave.
I really love that song, by the way. That's the best song ever.
I will go hide backstage and mute and turn this thing down and go play video games if you start singing that song again.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. No, the thing is that I just like the thing where they're like, it's like the cat looks just so resentful.
Oh, I know it's great, but it's like that one show you sang that thing like 30 times. I was like, by the end of it, I was like, God damn
Oh
it.
yeah. Well, it's just funny because looking at that fucking video is just funny as hell because it's just I think cats hitting each other, but that was just like the thing where she's like,
Now you do have a nice singing voice. I just want you to know. All right.
yeah.
You do have a very pleasant singing voice.
Oh, you should hear Philip when he sings "Let It Go." It's really bad.
I'm not sure I want to now. That sounded like an ominous warning.
Hey, Phil.
Speak of the
Yeah.
freaking devil. Look at that. We got to get an avatar, yo. We got to get this boy an avatar, Christy. We can't have that.
Well, he's got to put in something.
I know. You got to put something in there, bro.
I'll figure something out.
And I have one that I look perpetually angry, so that's okay.
I have a whole bunch of them, so
Oh.
I can give you the Sam Elliott pops,
Hey, I'm open to any of them. Sam Elliott pops. Actually,
it's Pops Elliott, bro.
oh, there you go. Pops
Just put
Elliott.
Sam
There we
Elliott. Just put Sam Elliott in there.
go. Or I can put up one of my art pieces from Instagram, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, drawings of yourself, of your characters, of whatever,
Well, right now I haven't gotten any I've gotten editor work, but nothing comic book related for art. I've been mostly getting contacted by, photographers wanting art sessions based off of like stuff that they did with certain models, which is fine. I mean, not complaining. I need to eat, so.
Oh, and I also made demon bitches lose an eye in this too. So I'm just thinking about like the ball pits and shit and how not very safe they are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably a comment on TwitchCon, like people doing stupid shit for clout.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do feel bad for that porn actress that jumped into the fucking memory foam pit because that wasn't a very well done what it looked like.
Wait, didn't she break her back?
She broke her back in 2 places. Yeah, they had to put rods in.
Her ass. Oh,
Yeah, like it looked like she landed on her ass. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that to be funny. It like the video that I saw, she like
Mhm.
jumped. It was weird. It was from a platform, and she jumped. But it looked like one butt cheek like hit like a hidden part of a platform hidden under the memory foam, and then she like, sat. It just like literally she landed on her ass. So I think she broke some parts of her lower back or something.
Dang, that's intense.
Yeah.
I think it was funny. I'm sorry.
No, I mean it was kind of funny, but it was like, damn, ow.
Look, you
It
don't
was just the weirdest
cannonball.
thing.
You don't cannonball into the foam pit. It's not a pool of water.
Well, and the thing is that this is kind of at a
No.
convention. They don't, if it's proven not to have like at least 4 or 5 feet full of foam, don't do shit like that.
Don't do it. I'm just saying. That's, I mean, I realize that it doesn't take a high level of intelligence to do her chosen job, but
Oh, yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because one porn star actually has a Mensa, like has a membership in Mensa, which is really interesting.
Really?
Yeah,
Which
like
one?
in the early 2000s and 1990s, she was like, she was Mensa, but she had really strict, super fucking strict parents. So she just went ahead and just did porn just to do it. And then she later got married and just like had kids, but unfortunately her husband died. So I don't know what happened then, which is kind of sad actually. But she actually has a background in Mensa.
Oh wow.
Crazy. Yeah, it's like weird. I mean, yeah, a lot of the porn industry, at least in the 90s that I read up on, there were a lot of people with daddy issues and abuse issues. It was really not fun.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fucked up, but and there was a lot of drugs. And I mean, I know some people that used to be adult entertainers too, and they told me it's a lot of shit like that, I mean, the industry cleaned up a lot, but there's still a lot of not very good things about it.
Yeah. Well, so I personally don't watch it because of that stuff. Like there was a few documentaries that I watched, like the one like Life After Porn, where like people got shamed or not hired because they found out, oh, you used to do porn, and they would fire people, or like you hear about the drugs, and the some women were pressured into doing things, or manipulated into doing things. And it's like then there was like one instance when I was in the military where we were investigating a porn site because it might have been a human trafficking case.
Oh yeah.
So, shit like that. But what changed my mind, not thinking all of it was bad, was I had a friend when I was stationed in El Paso, Texas, who was a really lovely lady named, her nickname's Bunny. I never tell anyone her real name, but she ran a porn thing from her home, and she made like bank, like millions of dollars, and she always made sure everyone was safe. And she was a very lovely human being. Unfortunately, she passed away, but um, you know, and she showed me a different side of that stuff that was a lot more healthy than what the military showed me when I was doing my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some of that stuff was, ugh. Yeah,
Yeah, some part of it is sometimes I think a good number it's kind of gross, especially if you have a lot of broken people running it. But I think
yeah,
from what I've understood from the 90s is that it's not as fucked up as it used to be.
right.
So
And
that's
sorry that I don't have my camera on. I'm using my phone as I'm trying to do some chores.
mhm.
So
Yeah, deconstructed demon bitch.
when does the game drop?
The game,
Yeah, the Demon Bitch game.
we're still working on it. I'm waiting for the programmer to get that shit done so I can do the art. 'Cause I've been releasing the
Mhm,
art a little bit at a time.
mhm.
But the thing is that I need to get the stats for the art, if that makes sense.
Ah, gotcha.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Whew. So
Oh
how's
man.
everybody's day today? It's hump day.
Oh man, that's awesome.
okay, I'm gonna jump out of here and let y'all do your thing.
Right.
I gotta figure out some more stuff. I'll be back.
All right. See you, Pops.
See ya. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. So I'm exhausted too, dude. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know I stayed up till 2, but it wasn't like I woke up at 3 in the morning or something.
Wow, you stayed up until 2?
Yeah, I was just hanging out with one of my friends at a Denny's. She was the
Wow.
one I went to the premiere with.
So how was the premiere, by the way?
It was fun. I mean, we didn't do the red carpet thing. We just went in and did the movie, but that's all I was in the mood for, really.
Right.
It's kind of funny because, like, I absolutely have not a lot of interest in taking pictures with famous people sometimes. I'm just like, why?
I find that funny because you're in the entertainment business, and then you do entertainment stuff for a living, and then when it comes to like those events, you like I just don't care.
Weird because it's like the ones that really count, I guess, to do that. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's weird. I'm in the industry and I'm putting a name for myself and all that other shit, but I just don't really like too much of the clout chase. I'm not trying to say if you want to go to a premiere, you're a clout chaser or something. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that either. It's just, I'm just not that type of person to really do that.
I mean, I've went to what 2 premieres in my life. They're cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You you get to see like the people, meet them up close. They can talk about the film afterwards, and
Yeah. There's
um,
Paul Feig. He was on there. He was pretty cool. Like they talked a little bit before they went on. The other actors and actresses really didn't. They had Charlize Theron there and Kerry Washington and all that, and they were pretty cool. And then they had like other ones, but the other ones I'm kind of like going, we weren't like super. I mean, those guys and Lawrence Fishburne, they fucking like left the other direction because they probably would have been mobbed. So yeah, there's that. Boy,
well,
I'm
that's
just
cool though. I mean, what you went to 2 premieres now in the last few months? So
yeah, like I
Mark,
went to red carpet and then I went to another one. So I mean, I'm not unappreciative of them. It's good. It's like if my fucking friend didn't like tell me about them and invite
hmm
me to go, I probably wouldn't end up doing. Hey, Quentin, I wouldn't end up doing them. You know, I wouldn't really watch movies just because it's just out of habit. I don't. I'm not trying to be like I hate movies and everything. It's just like yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes to films, like you literally have to be a fan of film to want to go into those things.
yeah,
Like, because if you're not and you're just an average goer, they can be boring. I can see why, some people like because there for a while I was getting offers to go to premieres when I was a youth pastor there for a spell,
mm,
just to like check out like family movies and stuff from different things because when you get out of seminary they hook you up and all that good stuff with just like different resources and I just remember I'd be giving tickets away to people for like their families for date night and stuff
mm.
and you know some of them were like yeah the movie was great but the rest of it was boring. That's where I kind of learned. I was like okay, so premieres are literally for like you know huge movie fans. You know what I mean? Because if
They
you
want
if
to get signed by the celebrities and shit. And it's like, I mean, I'm not
yeah
trying to shit on them, like whatever. It's just because I notice some people get all like, oh, they're celebrities, so they're shitty. I'm like, "Ugh, shut up. It's not like that. I just went
yeah
to go and it was fun and I dressed up nice and everything. I mean, people probably saw my picture where I was dressed like a Disney villainess, but it was kind of kind of funny because some stuff poked out and I'm like, oh, gee, get out.
oh yeah I saw that actually.
Yeah, it was funny. It's like people really like that picture. It was funny because I took it for a friend of mine because I was talking to her, and she and I like we were chatting, and she was sick, so I was like telling her about stuff, and I said, here's
Mhm.
my outfit for the premiere, and I looked at the picture, and said, oh, that's a pretty cool picture. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah, so I mean, boy,
Oh,
as I said, it's been kind of tiring today. I don't know what it is, so I'm probably gonna go and like chill out for the rest of the day. while I go and upload shit on Global Comics. So just to let you know, guys, I changed to another platform other than Webtoon, and it's easier to buy my digital stuff if you want to try it out. And there's a subscription service. I'm transferring all of Webtoon. I still will be on Webtoon, but Demon Bitch Webtoon tunes will be free, but you can get the graphic novels here. Let me go ahead and do that. So go ahead and you can get my books. I think I'm offering a deal until the end of the month. Yeah, Rooster, that's where he lives because it's Hickville. And then
Yes, I live in Hickville, dude.
then also here's another one where you guys where you guys can go through this link. There's Malicious CityCon. Malicious CityCon, and it's going to be at adults only bar. It's just a bar. It's not a strip club. And hey, the counter went up a bit. But the link is through my general website. And if you just select Christie Shinn, you're good. But yeah, subscribe to my stuff on Global Comics. If you want to follow me online for like constantly updated stuff. If you want to do that. So I think that would be fun for you to do, guys to do. And also for supporting me, you can actually tip me or subscribe to me. It's just all much more of an easier format. So please just go ahead and go on there and take a look at that. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I like the fact that you've got like a lot of the projects coming out the pipeline. You know what I mean?
You know what's
Because
weird is
it's
being perpetually busy or thinking that I'm busy just because I'm not working on a comic book actively right now makes me feel kind of silly. I don't know
why.
why. I think it's like I feel like I'm lazy. Like, oh, I should be doing Sepulchre, but it's like I don't feel like drawing the pictures right now. Doesn't mean I won't ever, but yeah,
Mm-hmm. No, I feel you.
yeah. Let's
I
see.
definitely feel you. Yeah, because there's some times where when I get a contract with someone and I'm just like, they're like, yeah, draw this, and then I go and draw it, and it takes me forever to color it because I'm like, I don't want to, you
Well,
know.
I'm going to ask you, how's my coloring? Because I mean, I make it purposely shitty for Demon Bitch, but I kind of wonder if my coloring's actually pretty good. I think I'm pretty decent. Like I have
No,
enough.
I like the way you color. You're good. I mean, you understand light theory, and most people don't. Like most, artists for some reason, unless they just, hone the craft of coloring. Um, Most of them don't understand light theory. Like, and it's not to bash on it, but like there was a professional color artist there for a while that I couldn't stand his artwork. He went by the moniker Blonde, and he just, oh man, it was the light source came from everywhere. It was. Let me see if I can uh find his um his thing, because like he was early 2000s. Yeah, I don't think he lasted long. I think he was just a fad. Um,
I mean, I'm gauging it like, well, most people don't think it's shitty. I don't really have any commentary on that, so I'm guessing I'm good.
yeah, there you
I mean, a
go.
lot of people look at the work.
Mm-hmm.
They don't leave a comment, but I'm guessing it's okay. I mean, I'm not saying that I get complete validation of comments, but comments, but just I think it's like pretty good.
Yeah, I like your stuff. I mean, you know, I think you're. I think you've done great stuff on, for what for the style you're representing. You know what I mean? Which is really cool.
By the way,
So,
guys, this is not a verification podcast or something or a validation podcast. I'm just trying to figure it out because we were talking about like Don Wynn and I. It's like, what about your market moving like this and that, the other thing? I said, I don't know. I've advertised and sometimes it just doesn't move. So I'm just kind of
mm,
wondering what's going on. But it seems like Global Comics is the one that's going pretty good on a consistent basis lately. So I'm trying to go
yeah.
and focus on that and get that going.
All right. I just texted you the the guy that went by the moniker Blonde, like what he would do. I mean, it's not bad. It's just that his light theory annoys me because his light sources are everywhere, you know, and it's just ugh.
Let me take a
Like,
look at this shit.
yeah,
By the way, guys, we are not making a point of mocking other artists. I do not do that. But you know, you
yeah,
can assess it. Oh,
yeah,
weird. It's kind of like
yeah,
it's not terrible. I know what you mean, but it's like it's very hard light, and if you
yeah,
have like you have to have hard shadow.
right. And it's so that's the only thing, like I know he's got a following and he still gets a lot of work. I just personally, I'm not a fan. I always look at it as, um, take my opinion, opinions with a grain of salt. Like we all have our artists that we like, and ones we don't like. I just personally, I just didn't care for his light theory. It was too harsh.
Well, I was wondering what makes Peach Momoko so well liked. And again, if people are wondering like if I'm trying to shit on her, no, I'm trying to point down or pinpoint what makes her likable or what makes her art good. I mean, she's technically very good. Don't get me wrong. I'm
Yeah,
looking at color wise, she's very good. She does very dreamlike things. But I'm just wondering because it's like sometimes I've seen art like that and it just never sells and it's good, just as good. And I'm like, how the fuck?
yeah. I never understood because I've seen that too, right? Like her
Yeah.
style is very popular in the deviant art community. If you ever go on deviant art, there's a lot of people that can draw and paint like that.
Yeah. Did a
But
lot.
she blew up, and everyone just liked her stuff. And then there's people that are just as good that got like one or two likes on Instagram. You know, um, I just wonder if it's just maybe she was in the right place at the right time on the right book.
Yeah.
You know, because she did. She made it huge in manga, and then she started working for Marvel.
Yeah.
Um, so I think Peach Momoko is just one of those artists that she made it big in one and then crossed over to another, and then she's got a foot in both worlds. You
Well, like
know.
I remember Robin Eisenberg, and I met her. She's a really cool person. Very,
Hmm.
very nice lady. She draws the big bottom girls and broadly, like the horoscopes. That's what she was known for. That's what she kind of got big at for. And
Hmm.
okay, DC asked her to draw a cover for Wonder Woman. It was around the time when 1984 came out, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, and then people were kind of shitting on her, and I like thought that was really unfair because first of all, DC selected her. Okay,
right,
so it's just as I said, and I'm not trying to shit on DC at all. You know, they made their decision, but it's like going, okay, if you guys are mad, it's like, well, she didn't draw it and thing. It's like if you fucking look at her work, you dumbass, she doesn't look like that. It was never
yeah,
like. But it's like I think they just wanted to change it up, and I thought it was pretty good. I mean, she just has a very different way of drawing, but it kind of annoys the fuck out of me that people are like being so judgmental about it. It's kind of like with the Milo Minara thing. Oh, we're going to correct his anatomy and shit. It's like, why does she look all sexual? Well, he's an erotic comic book artist. He's
yeah,
Italian, so like, shut up. You know, I
yeah.
just got kind of
Well,
annoyed with people when they get into that. Oh, Spider Woman's like all fucking weird and everything, and it's hypersexualized. It's like I really didn't look at that, but okay.
yeah, I always find it weird that people that um don't never read the comics always attack comics. You
Well,
know.
also like they're the ones that go on about sexual expression the most, and then they go and start being fucking utter prudes about this shit. It's like okay.
Yeah, I do find that interesting, right? Like, you're down for the 1970s sexual revolution and women's rights, and you beat your
We love
chest on that stuff,
everything.
but then someone draws a character a little too sexy for your liking, and then you become like the 1980s hit squad on you know the music industry.
Oh yeah.
Censorship. I
Yep.
always find that weird.
Yeah, I've never really liked it. And then the people that go into this whole thing about, oh, but you know, we're open to any sexuality, but then they become real prudes to certain types. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's not what you think. It's like the weirdest thing. Like for me and people, like I'm like, I just kind of do whatever I do. And they're like,
Hmm.
how can you do that? That's awful. And I'm not talking about polyamory or any of that bullshit. I'm talking about like just, well, I'm just doing this. And I'm not even telling anybody what to do. And they go, yeah. I'm like, all right, you guys aren't secure in what you do. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that sounds weird of me to say, but I've just run into people like that all the time. It's like, I don't like that shit. And I'm also drawing optic nerves. Demon Bitch Deconstructed, pretty much, Ehimo. But yeah. You know, I will say this, my roommate, side effect, you know, oh, what is it? Cold Case, you know, or something, or no, Forensic Files. So
Yeah.
apparently my roommate is from a certain part of North Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that part of North Carolina where he was at, there was a love triangle. And the love triangle was interesting because it was a woman cheating on her husband. She was killing him with arsenic, and she had a boyfriend. Well, it's kind of funny. The actor that they had the boyfriend looked a lot like my roommate. I'm like, what the fuck? So that was the weirdest
That's
thing.
funny.
So I saw that. I mean, it was an actor, it wasn't the actual guy, but because the actual guy did kill himself and they didn't have him on there. But so I think just to protect his identity and family, they just basically did that. And it was weird because it was exactly around the place where my roommate was from, which is hilarious. And where I live is actually a certain part of fucking North Carolina too. Even though I don't live in North Carolina, which is hilarious. But everybody from North Carolina gathers at my house because of that, apparently. But anyway, so I showed him that. And I said, dude, this guy looks kind of like you, man. And he said, holy shit.
That's funny.
Right.
Uh,
So, yeah, no, I'm looking at the colorist. He's not bad at all, but I think I would do harder shading, or I wouldn't do as bright of light or a more gradation of color personally.
yeah. Like I said, I mean, he's got talent. I mean, there's a reason why DC and Marvel went with him in the early 2000s. And then now he's doing a lot more Italian books because he's originally from Italy. But,
Oh,
but yeah, I don't know, just personally, I'm just not a fan, you know. But then again, I'm a huge fan of, Frank Coletta, and then a lot of people aren't. They think he ruined Jack Kirby's art.
oh,
So,
really? Damn.
yeah. Well, because a lot of people said he's the guy that it was, like they accuse him of just covering up nuances that Jack Kirby put in his pencils, and honestly, I don't think that is the case. I mean, look at Jim Lee's inker. Like the same argument could be made for him, but they always pump out really good stuff. Like anytime those two are on a book together, it sells millions of copies. You
No, Todd
know?
McFarlane, he inks his own shit, right?
Yeah, Todd McFarlane is more of an inker than anything. He inks because he's working with Greg Capullo for Batman versus Spawn. Um and he's inking the book. Capullo's drawing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who's coming up with the story though. Because Todd likes to do his stuff like the Marvel method, where he just talks about the story and then lets the artist just draw it, and then they add dialogue after. So that's what they like to do, or he likes to do. I don't know if I could ever work like that. To me, um,
I think you have
'cause
to really be in sync with somebody.
yeah, I think so too. Because if you're not, then it
Oh, it's
it
bad
can,
if you're not. You're constantly butting heads.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you should do the mature thing and be able to work with somebody you don't need, but
Yeah.
you know, there's that other shit too.
Well, I mean, I think the reason why Stan Lee even admitted the reason why he came up with the method was because he was the only editor slash writer, and it was because he was lazy and just didn't want to be like, he was essentially doing 6 books, and like the guys would come in with new ideas, they talk about it, they draw it, and then he just slapped the dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
and for that style, I mean, like you're right. Like you literally have to be super in sync with somebody to understand how their style works and make sure, like, when you do lettering, because keep in mind, back in the day, lettering I mean, they used to do that crap by hand. Either they would glue it on and cut the bubbles out and glue it on the
There was
page.
also the Ames thing,
Hmm.
the Ames guide.
Yep.
It's
Ames
funny, I
guide
never
that.
really heard of it till now.
Yeah, I have one. I think, did I show you mine?
I think you might have shown me.
Yeah, because I have one. Because I sometimes I like to ink old school stuff, just to just for fun, you know. But then sometimes, you know, you just need, you know, sometimes you just want to do it traditionally, because it's a lot more fun. Like these days, I just do digital art because it's
Mhm.
quick, and it costs less because I'm not paying for supplies. But then I get that artist thing, and I'll go use spray cans or ink brushes or whatever because I need to feel the paint in my fingers.
Yeah. So let me show you what I'm doing right there. So here you go. So much for clout. Look at that ass. Let me see here.
She's upset.
Look at that ass.
Oh,
Oh, people seem to like the many names I'm known by.
my next door neighbors has a big ass farm. Every time I hear a rooster crow at 2:30, 3 a.m.
Right?
Yeah, Quentin. Yeah, that's funny.
Right.
Yeah, I live out in the sticks. Yep, in the good old
I
sticks.
I do not, guys. So if you hear any farm animal noises, that's him touching a chicken.
Fuck you. Oh, great. Wait,
Oh,
wait. That just reminded me of that preacher panel where like the dude bangs a chicken. That comic book was so messed up,
oh, preacher,
dude.
yeah, like he's fucking a chicken and he shoots him in the head. Like,
Yeah,
god damn. And he had like drew the O face and everything. I'm like, I forgot the artist who did it. He died recently, which sucks because his work was really good. I'm like
yeah.
shitty about names, guys, so don't take it too personally if I do.
Well, you know what made me appreciate that book more is the backstory of the writer, Warren Ellis. Like he was talking about, um, you know, he grew up in Ireland when the Protestants and the Catholics were trying to kill each other. And so he's very anti-religion just because of like the way he grew up and the way he
Oh,
deconstructed.
The IRA versus like the British
Yep,
and shit.
yep.
Mhm.
And he's an atheist because of that, and I can respect that. Like if I
Yeah.
grew up in those situations, I mean I can see why you'd want to be an atheist.
Well,
But
and it's
the
also like there was that guy, there was this little boy, I'm sorry to interrupt. There was this
oh,
little
okay.
boy who was they had a picture of him, a little Irish kid. And it was weird
Hmm.
because 20 years later, this kid and I, we were about the same age, so it was kind of weird. The IRA like went and tied him to a fence and broke his arms and legs. It
Oh,
was really,
jeez.
and he was Irish Catholic. So I think that was kind of the beginning and the end for the IRA at that point too. Like not only were they just like everybody was getting fucking tired of stupid ass bloodshed. I mean, it's like they didn't have a problem with independence, but they just had a fucking problem. Like, unfortunately, the IRA started going into their own and fucking up everybody. And it's like, okay, you bombed it. Like, remember the Cranberries? They had that song
Zombie.
"Zombie." Yeah, and
Yeah.
they remember 1918. I think that was that. I think it was 1915 or 1918. But that's when the IRA bombed like a bus full of kids and they all died. And it's like, what the fuck's this? Like, okay, you're all for independence, but you're killing children and women. Fuck you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Well,
after a while, everybody got kind of tired of it.
yeah. The IRA did some horrific crimes. I mean,
Yeah.
um, usually extreme groups like that, they start out small and innocent and for the right reasons, but then they get indoctrinated with something crazy within their cultures, and then they
Well,
just
it's like
fly off
more
the
of a
ramp.
cult type mentality after a while.
Right. Well, it's
Yeah.
like the Taliban started out as freedom fighters for, their country and against the Russians, and then they became this cult that just blew up,
Yeah.
and went crazy. Like I remember when I was over there, they were explaining like Shia law that what would they had this like 4-inch stick, and they would check men's um, hair on their growing, and if it was a certain length, then they would take him to the town square and beat him because he wasn't clean enough.
Oh,
So
look at that.
like,
My friend Lawrence is on. Hey, buddy, what's up? A discussion of the
up,
troubles
dude?
in Ireland, how eclectic. Yes. Sorry. Go on. I apologize.
Oh no, you're good, man. Lawrence Hubbard. I swear I've met Lawrence Hubbard before
I
on
don't think you
Google
met him
Plus.
personally. You haven't met him personally, but you met him
Yeah,
online, probably through me.
yeah, yeah. Well, because I remember there was a Lawrence on Google Plus that I would talk to a lot with the same last name. It could be just a similar name.
Maybe. I don't know. Probably. I don't know. But yeah, the troubles in Ireland, because I kind of remember it, but that's why they don't have garbage cans in fucking, they don't have them in, what was the fucking, the train station in London? I forgot.
Hmm.
So in the
Yeah.
train station, oh, the tube. In the areas of the tube, they will not have any fucking garbage cans. Like I remember visiting England and said, where and I was on the tube. I was like, where the fuck is like everything else? Like I was going like, where's a garbage can? Because I've been to subways and train stations all over America and Europe, and it's like there's a fucking garbage can you could put your garbage. But I was like, there's nothing here. And then
Hmm.
the person that was with me said, oh yeah, what ended up happening was is that the IRA would fucking throw bombs in there, and that's why they don't have them in there. Which is weird because in
Yeah.
England they had like when I was there they had like the frailest meshy kind of. I was like, it looked like they took a bunch of sheet metal and like punched like a lattice full of things, and then you would throw your garbage, and a lot of times these things would be beat up real bad where they're all fucked up. But I because I went into Hyde Park, but I realized maybe they were so fragile looking is that if somebody threw a bomb in there, there'd be less shrapnel or something like that, or the shrapnel
Uh,
wouldn't be much. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I was in London for like a week, and not that long, and I just remember when I ate food there. Um, I don't know, like the Brits do not like to season their steak. That's all I remember. Like that was the most plain Jane steak I ever had. Um, but whatever. Like, and the other thing too, like when I was there, it was quite normal for like the pubs, like the neighborhood apparently, and this is just something I learned when I was over there, because I'd go to the pub to eat,
Mhm.
and they told me like there everyone like that was the neighborhood pub,
Mhm.
so the bartender and the cook would know everybody in that neighborhood. And if you go to another neighborhood, then that was their pub for that neighborhood. Like it was a very their bars were very family oriented, which I found interesting. Um,
Yeah, it's not like
you
a bar
know,
here. Like you can't take your kids to a bar here unless it's like a.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, over there it's
So
like a public house. Like everybody goes.
yeah, and I found that was interesting. And then my British friends and my Australian friends came over here, and they were shocked. In fact, like because in both of those countries, Australia and um, London and all that, like they have to have bottle shops or be a pub in order to sell alcohol. And they don't sell them at gas stations. They don't sell them in Walmarts. They don't sell them in, their grocery stores, like their
Mhm.
Krogers or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, but so when they came and visited me in Hawaii and they visited me in California, they're like, you could get liquor anywhere. He's like, you guys are alcoholics. Always made me every time they tell me that it made me laugh.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's the thing. So I'm kind of like laughing about it because it's like Korea, like you can fucking, I think, drink in the street and shit. But it's like in America, like the thing is like there's dry counties and dry areas. Like even in Utah, they have state-run liquor stores. That kind of it boggles me. But
Hmm.
then it's weird. But
Yeah. Yeah.
But as I said, it's kind of strange to me. Like, as I said, here in California, I think like just the worst in some cities here is like you can't buy alcohol after midnight. That's pretty much it. I think when
Yeah.
most cities and counties you can't do that, but You know, it's like if it's 2 or 3, you can't buy a drink, but most liquor stores aren't open that long, save for grocery stores, and grocery stores will cut you off at midnight. I think a lot of them. I mean, I think there's like you can still buy stuff at 1 or 2 in the morning. It's not universal throughout California, but I
Yeah.
know in a lot of, at least I know in a lot of grocery stores in general, you can't buy past midnight. You know, that's pretty
Yeah.
much it. But other than that, I've never heard of dry counties and shit like that.
Well, I mean, in other parts of the United States I've been in, there's been a few dry counties. And I always found it interesting, like, the most famous whiskeys in America, like, um, Southern Comfort and, uh, you know, Tennessee Williams and
Mhm.
Jim Beam and what's that? What was the really Jack Daniels? Um,
Yeah.
they're all brewed in dry counties. They can't sell it. They can make it. They can't sell it. And I think what was really cool because I went on the Jack Daniels tour when I was in the army. Like we were just curious. We went in and we paid, I don't know, at the time it was like 20, $30 for it. And you go in and you try different samples because like there's a different flavors of Jack Daniels whiskey. Like they've
Mhm.
got like I think 1,300 flavors and that they brew at certain times. And it
Mhm.
was a lot of fun. But when I found out they were brewing at a um in a dry county, they're like, yeah, we can't sell you the liquor, but we can sell you tickets for the tour. So that's how they get around it, just certain legal mumbo jumbos. And I also found out that the people
Mhm.
that work there every payday they get a free bottle of Jack Daniels. So
Nice.
I always thought that was kind of interesting. Oh,
I have to grab something real quick, so
yep.
I'll be right back, you guys. Let me stop the cam and mute it.
Okay. Cute. Dry Counties was part of the plot of Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, that's very true. I love that movie. Um, I'm actually, now that you mentioned that movie, I'm gonna watch it tonight. That sounds awesome. Thank you, Jay. Let's see. One time Ireland had a little weapon trade with the Imperial German Army during World War One. Did not know that. Let's see what else we got. Oh, that's it.
Back.
Oh,
Wow, everybody's so
fantastic.
quiet.
Well, I was just reading the comments real quick. I was gonna play an ad while you were in there, but I
Oh,
I
okay.
just barely found them.
Uh, yeah,
Oops.
no, I've just been kind of doing whatever.
Okay.
Ugh, boy. Plus, the premise of Dukes of Hazzard was a dry county, and Uncle Jesse was a moonshine. That's true.
Yeah.
But like
Oh,
Boss
watch
Hogg
that.
was like really greedy, so he decided to go and like try to take his like fuck with the moonshiners and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's funny is now that you mentioned that whole thing, um, what's interesting about that whole entire show is technically they were outlaws and we were rooting for the bad guys when you really think about it because they're running moonshine, right?
Mhm.
Like so that's probably what the first time Americans were rooting for the bad guys, so to speak, because they were more
Well,
of the hero.
like we like to root for the rebels or the underdog. I've noticed.
That is true. Well, I mean, technically we're a nation built on outlaws and scoundrels. I mean, if you look at our history, we just were people that defied authority and said F you and did it our own way. So
Well,
we
it's like
have
we
a
were more
history of that.
rebels than anything, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very true.
yeah. But it's rebels are pretty interesting because it's like, yeah, it's kind of funny how like most of the fucking in Star Wars, the Empire were British dudes, and then like most of the rebels were fucking American, which is hilarious. It's like a whole weird play of the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, that is actually kind of funny that you pointed that out.
Well, have you noticed most of the villains have British accents until recently?
Hmm. Now that you pointed that out, that didn't connect until just now. I'm like, holy crap, that is
Yeah.
so true. That all the villains were Brits in the original trilogy. I didn't like what they did with the last three though, turning Luke Skywalker into this guy that no longer believes in hope. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, what? And
Yeah.
apparently, that was um, the man that played him. What's his name? Um,
Mark Hamill.
Thank you, Mark Hamill. He even agrees. Like, he's went on record multiple times. Like, that's not George Lucas's Luke. Luke was all about hope.
Mhm.
You know, and this was a different kind of Luke. So he's like he had to um, act as if it was a different character altogether. You know,
Mhm.
so and I agree with him. Like, because you know, Luke was always a character of hope and trying to see the greater good in people. You know, so
Right. I mean, it's like he seemed idealistic. I mean, you had his dad who was fucking Vader, who was like this horrible murdering asshole, and he turned out that he actually had a redemptive side.
hmm
Oh, shut up.
absolutely, yeah. And it's funny too because when you watch there's a documentary where George Lucas um, is talking about like if you watch the movies, the original six in order, it's about this man that gets corrupted and loses everything and then redeems himself. Like, and he's a very cowardly man. Um, but if you watch it with the first three, then watch the prequels, then people you have this affinity of love for this dark character of Darth Vader that makes you hate the prequels. So, but if you watch them in order, it's about a guy that just you know his will was not as um, tried and true as we thought it would be. So,
Well,
and
it's kind of like in the thing of the school of good and evil. It kind of
right,
shows that like how people go and do the good, like let's say for the now guys, I'm not shitting on Christianity, okay? This is an issue for every religion. But like, where they say the good Christian person, it's like, okay, but you have this person that's a fucking it's not like you shouldn't live an upright life, but it's the people that live an upright life to say that they're good, but really they're not really good. They're an asshole or they're shallow inside. But then, it's kind of interesting because it's like you accept the humanness in people because they say, oh, there's people that are evil and everything and blah, blah, blah. So it talks about that and touches like there's human, but they do talk about, they did differentiate between evil and good. You know what I mean? Like
well,
there's actual evil and good. There are, but not everybody's an embodiment of just pure evil, pure good.
right, and there was a really good thing that a friend of mine told me once, and it just stuck with me. And the way it went down was he's like, here's the thing, religion in its purest form has always been hopeful, building communities and making good in the world. The problem is humanity touches it and corrupts it. And I'm 100% behind that. You know what I mean? There's
Mhm.
most people that come from any religion, for the most part, are decent human beings, and they want to be decent human beings. Then
Yeah,
you just get those people that want to go in there and with
right.
ungood intentions. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean it's been one of those things that it's like, oh, Quentin says we give the middle finger to King George III. Yeah, King George III was interesting because he was a Hanover and he was German, but yet he was the King of England. He was actually asked to come from Germany to rule England, which is hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. And what's even crazier is that's not the first time that the British did that either. There was
Yeah,
another time.
they did that with the Stuart dynasty. What it was is that
Yeah,
Elizabeth died, the first Elizabeth died, but she didn't have an heir. And so she named, ironically, Mary, Queen of Scots. By the way, this is not Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary was her older sister. That's why she was
Yeah.
called Bloody Mary, because she basically was a Catholic. She was married to a Spanish prince, and she was raised Catholic. And then she just went and started like oppressing all the Protestants after Henry VIII died and after Edward died. So that's why she was called Bloody Mary. And then she died suddenly. I think they most likely think it's some sort of uterine cancer or something, because they said she would get pregnant and say, "Oh, this is great. She's getting pregnant," but then she would never give birth. So they think she might have had a nasty fibroid or something that fucked her up. So not a good one. So what ended up happening is that Vader was from an imperial generation left for war, the optimistic boomer generation, possibly.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into Star Wars. Like, um, watching the documentary about George Lucas, like he was really heavily inspired by the rise and fall of the Roman Empire to democracy, plus certain things about the Shaolin monks. So it's if anyone ever wants to check it out, it's on Amazon, and it's called "The Vision of George Lucas." Very good documentary. It explores all that stuff.
So yeah, that's what I think about it. But last generation really made the same mistakes the previous generation did. Yeah, you could probably look at that because that's sort of like what Mark Hamill's generation is. But going back, I think, oh shit, what was it? So yeah, but the reason why it's called the UK United Kingdom, from what I was told by an Englishman, now anybody can go and refute or do whatever. Yeah. So whatever to refute on it, it was like basically since Elizabeth passed away, not this Elizabeth, but the last Elizabeth passed away, they basically said, okay, we don't have a king. Please move your court over to London so we can go and have you rule. So James said, okay. So King James said, okay. So they moved the Stuarts and the whole court over to England. So that is why they called it the United Kingdom now, because it was two kingdoms united.
Yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
what was it? Go ahead.
No, the Stuarts were Scottish, basically.
Yeah. Well, what was interesting about King James that I learned when I was in seminary is technically the King James Bible is probably the most inaccurate Bible.
Inaccurate, you
It
said?
Say again?
Inaccurate or accurate?
Inaccurate.
Uh-huh.
The scribe that like when he wrote the Book of Revelations in it, he didn't even have the manuscripts. He copied everyone else's work from other people.
Oh, I see.
hmm And
That's
not only that, he took out certain things that were by the hest of the king. So like honestly, the King James Bible should be in a museum and not really read. But I mean, people have their own thing. But it's just something that I found interesting when I was in seminary. It was just like, oh, the King James is the most inaccurate Bible. That's crazy.
Because
Um,
I've heard the other opposite, like it was the best version. But
yeah, no, so that came out because the people that own the publication, okay, so um, the trademarks and publications for that translation, keep in mind as the Bible got like you will actually have a more accurate Bible now than back then because of just all the pieces of stuff that we've learned, um, and how their languages worked back then, and so on and so forth, and how many like millions of manuscripts we actually have to translate the Bible, and so as we were learning what the translations actually meant, and we were improving to stay in business, the people that owned the trademark for the King James started a smear campaign and called it the most accurate Bible, and it's not. Even James White, the biggest doctor in Christianity right now that helps translate Bibles, will even tell you it's not the most accurate Bible.
yeah,
Um, it's just not, because it is what it is. I mean, people, you know, again, I just found that kind of history, interesting when I was there. Like King James changed some stuff because he, didn't like it. Not only
Yeah.
that, you know, um, there was other stuff that they didn't have. They didn't have the documentation. So, but whatever.
Right.
C'est la vie. But one thing I do remember about King James that I found interesting when I was in seminary, and just for the historical fact, um, apparently that guy was deathly afraid of spiders. Like he would scream like a little girl at spiders.
Who? James?
Yeah, King James would.
I think they all suspected he was gay.
Yes. Yep.
He got married and stuff and had kids, but he wasn't really into women. He liked hanging out with guys a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not
Which
saying because you hang out with dudes and have guy friends and you're a dude. No, it's like it was the way, how they went about it. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They talked about that too. I found it interesting.
Yeah, and it's funny because he was the first one to rail against the evils of tobacco too. He did not think tobacco was a good thing. It's kind of interesting. I think was he Puritan? I forgot if he was Puritan.
Well, he believed that being a king was a right chosen by God. So, like, he was the one that decided that during his rule that if you weren't of noble blood, weren't certain meats you could eat.
So he's kind
So,
of he was into the
yeah.
whole mentality too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so funny because when I was looking at stuff of a history of English food, a lot of it had to do with carnal pleasures and stuff. But then literally you could not eat meat for most of the year. But what they did is they defined certain types of meat as fish, so you could eat it. If it swam in the water, beaver was considered fine, So Acts of Union 1707, yeah, and also them taking the court over from Scotland to England, because they had no heir. So it's fuck, what are we gonna do? And that's sounds about the right time, Quentin, because at the time he was king, and Elizabeth was queen, but she died because she was old, and she didn't have name. I don't think she named. I think she named James, King James, as her heir, right?
Right. And so, I don't know. It's been a while since I went to seminary. So, my history, remembering that the great histories of different cultures is sometimes muddy. But I just, the major points that I found entertaining, definitely stuck. Like King James being deathly afraid of spiders, and that being actually recorded very in detail. I found it funny, like a grown man screaming at spiders. That's hilarious.
Oh, Napoleon was a malariaphobe. He hated cats.
Yeah.
He was scared of cats. And the thing is, how they would fuck with him on Corsica is that they would actually put a kitten in his room, and he'd be screaming just at the sight of them. It was really weird. The whole thing, Napoleon complex, kind of added to it,
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing that I found entertaining too, from just because of the way history with Napoleon, and his whole complex issues. Apparently, he was such a bad cheat at poker, and he was known to stab people when they were playing poker and whatnot. That people would purposely not call him when he was cheating, obviously shuffling the deck to give himself the best cards and dumb stuff like that. So I thought that was entertaining. So, but whatever. Oh.
Yeah, that was her nephew, because it's Mary and her were related. They were cousins or something. Mary, Queen of Scots, not Bloody Mary. People sometimes get that confused. Oh, it's Bloody Mary. No, it's Bloody Mary was her older sister by the first wife, Catherine of Aragon. And ironically, I find a weird sense of revenge. Hey, Brianna, what's up? Late in the evening. Yeah, definitely. What I found is interesting, Anne Boleyn's revenge was that her daughter became Queen of England.
Yeah.
And longest.
Yeah, that was always an interesting thing for me because of the fact that they tried to snuff that family out, and that family become crowned and.
Well, I kind of felt bad for Elizabeth because there was so many things that could have fucking happened to her. That was like one of the things was that the Catherine Parr was actually a decent woman, so she took in Elizabeth to try to like take care of her because like she was kind of told that she was illegitimate and all this other shit. And her husband actually tried to fucking sexually assault her several times. Like basically it was very inappropriate. Like he was married to Catherine Parr because this was after Catherine had been widowed by Henry VIII. And Catherine had been in love with him, but the thing at the beginning, and then she married King Henry because she felt it was her duty. But what sucked was that he was like looking at Elizabeth to fucking possibly, get into it with her. And he was doing very inappropriate things, like even at the time, like, yeah, okay, they married girls off as young as 14 to 16, but he was like going into her bedchamber and trying to fuck with her and stuff. Oop, guess we lost Philip. But yeah, like it was very inappropriate. So it was like, I kind of felt bad for her because like, I don't think there was something that really was damaging to her in the sense of anything, but I think it was just like, nope, I can't trust people,
Royalty has always been inappropriate.
Well, yeah. But yeah. Ugh. The Tudor world, the Tudors. Yeah, but that's still like, hey, Philip.
It just disconnected.
That's weird. But yeah, I was talking about Elizabeth, like how her Catherine Parr, her stepmother's new husband, like tried to like be very inappropriate with her even at the time. First of all, he was married when she was 14 and 16. And even though that was a marriageable age at the time, it's like that's really inappropriate because he would go into her room unannounced and shit, and she's like, "Whoa, what the fuck?"
Yeah. Well, one thing I liked about her reign was, and it never gets brought up enough. She was one of the first leaders in England history that actually studied the soldiers on how they were fighting and requested like better armor and weapons so that the men wouldn't because it was very common back in the day that they would go out to war and they would win, but then some of the army would die from the wounds from battle at home, right? So her idea was like, well, we need to have better weaponry and better weapons, and better armor, so that we can have them last longer and not have to always replenish our lines. But that hardly ever gets brought up for whatever reason.
Well, they were saying oh, her reign was kind of mediocre and she was more protectionist, but I'm like going, wait a minute, then how come it expanded so greatly under her rule? To me, trade really increased, everything really increased. They got more territories,
Yeah. I never understood that either, because if she was such a blah ruler, how come
they're for people for years? That's very hard for a monarch to do.
Yeah, and not only that, but their living conditions were better. Unlike I think it was. I wonder if it wasn't King James. It was the guy before King James, where they had a house, and I was watching a documentary on it. When they would go hunting, and it would the poor called it the piss house, because there was no the aristocrats would go into this house for the hunting lodge, and it would be you would have people relieving themselves in the house, and whatnot, and just being very disgusting, to say the least. But then when Elizabeth comes around, she's encouraging the people to not go, use the restroom in their home. She's encouraging them to do it outside. And lo and behold, during her reign, there wasn't much plague. People weren't starving. I always find it interesting that
in their own homes. I mean, I think they did it in chamber pots, but I think I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I always get confused of why she gets such a bad rap compared to the kings. I mean, the kings were retards. They were very stupid.
I don't want to sound like I'm going on about guys, but sometimes I think, I think sometimes some of the people in history, they got very comfortable because of certain positions. Sometimes I think the male rulers made mistakes because they were men. But, again, you could say that about the female rulers, and when they stepped out of the actual gender role kind of thing, they actually succeeded.
Oh, was it Marie Antoinette?
Marie Antoinette is funny because like she was part of the Habsburgs and all that. And like she actually was very miserable with King Louis, but it wasn't like she hated him. It was like they just fucking didn't like their life, you know? It's boring. And King Louis XIV was actually trying to be a good king. Like he wasn't a total frivolous asshole, but you get what I mean. It's like he just didn't know how to rule. He didn't know money. He didn't know any of these things. He didn't want to help poor people. He was like, went to the Bank of France and said, like, look, give people the money, but he didn't understand that the 15th like drained all the fucking finances. Like he did not understand money, and that's what kind of fucked him up. And that's why people said, oh, you just don't give a shit. And with Marie Antoinette, like, you know, you're just a terrible person because you're extravagant. When you have to understand in the Louis XIV, he created that very frivolous court system so people wouldn't try to murder him.
Yeah.
Like you try to curry favor over the stupidest shit.
I mean,
brain taken up by that instead of you trying to kill me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, but we got to go wind it down for the next show, guys. So I hope you're enjoying yourself while we're enjoying the stimulating talk during lunch hour. We'll chat about all sorts of things.
Woohoo!
Right? There you go.
Well, I'm going to let you answer one more question, Christy.
I think the kings and queens and other rich leaders started to pull stunts they did because they were pampered, never challenged, and bored as fuck. I think a combination. It really depends on the person, Brianna. I know in Louis XIV, he did that because there was always an issue with court. So I think that's what it is. I mean, if you want that to be simple, that's what it was. I mean, he wanted to avoid intrigues and getting murdered because that was a common issue. So I think that's what happened.
Right. I'll tell you what, we had a good run of shows. We still got more coming at you.
Yeah.
More. We got Paul Gomez. We still got a Silver Lion show ready to go tonight. We got Doc's Coffee Shop tomorrow. Look, we have 21 shows now. 21. Every time I come out here and talk about it, we have another one. So we added one last night. And we feel good. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate you. Man. Go follow everybody involved in what we're doing with the network. Follow Christy over there at the Linktree. Go follow Phil. Everybody's contact information is in the description down below. Everybody who's doing a show on our network, you can find us all and it's in every description of every show. We try to make this as easy as possible for everybody. Tune in, check us out, and don't get caught sleeping because we ain't stopping. Tell them, Christy.
Right. We're not sleeping. I just drank 2 cups of coffee, so there you go.
There you go. Y'all go check out Monster Matador. There's only about 28 hours left.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit